Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Imagine this: you're sorting through your pocket change, not expecting much. Maybe a few dimes, some nickels, and, of course, a bunch of pennies. But wait, you spot something peculiar. Your heart skips a beat. Is that a 1969 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny? Could it really be worth over $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1969 D Lincoln penny, valued at a staggering $1.1 million. So grab your change jar and get comfy, because you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Alright, let's kick things off with a little backstory. The 1969 D penny was minted in Denver, hence the D Mint mark. It's not just any penny. This coin's value lies in a rare error that turned an everyday Lincoln penny into a collector's dream. Now, you might be wondering, what kind of error could make a penny worth that much? Simple, it's all about the double die. Picture this: you're in the coin minting department, and the die that stamps the pennies gets just a little out of line. Boom, you've got yourself a double die error. The result? The design on the coin looks slightly doubled, almost like Lincoln's got a twin peeking out from behind him. It's subtle, but once you spot it, you can't unsee it. Now, this is where it gets crazy. A 1969 D penny with that double die error was sold for, you guessed it, $1.1 million. That's more than most new cars. Just imagine paying off your mortgage with a single penny. Let me tell you a quick story. One day, my friend Jake, big coin collector, always on the lookout for rare finds, calls me up. He's practically shouting, saying he's found a 1969 D penny in his dad's old coin jar. He's convinced it's the $1 million one. After a lot of squinting and magnifying glasses, we realize it's not the double die. Talk about a mood swing. But hey, lesson learned: not every 1969 D is a jackpot. So, how can you tell if your penny is worth a fortune? First, get yourself a magnifying glass. Trust me, it's worth the investment. Check for doubling, particularly on the date and the word Liberty. If it looks like Lincoln's name or face is slightly duplicated, you might just be holding the real deal. And now, don't go quitting your job just yet. Even if you find a double die, condition is key. Coins graded as mint state or higher are where the big bucks come in. A little scratch here or a smudge there, and your $1 million dream could dwindle fast. And where should you go if you think you've got one? Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin. It's worth the time and money because, let's be honest, if you're holding a $1 million penny, you want to know for sure. So there you have it, the thrilling, penny pinching saga of the 1969 D Lincoln penny. Who knew that a little copper coin could change your life? Next time you're sorting your change, take a second look. That one little penny could be your ticket to millionaire status. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or even thought you did. And remember, your next penny could be the one. Hey there, coin lovers. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're someone who collects coins, or you're just a casual observer, I've got a question for you. Have you ever come across a coin that made you stop and think, wait a minute, is this worth something huge? Well, let me tell you, the 1971 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny might just be one of those hidden gems in your collection, or even in your pocket right now. Sounds crazy, right? A penny that's worth a whopping $1.2 million? But trust me, it's true, and today we're diving into why this little copper coin is making waves in the numismatic world. So grab a seat, get comfy, and let's talk about why you should be checking your change for a 1971 penny. Because if you've got one of these in your collection, you could be holding onto a gold mine minus the gold, but definitely not the value. Alright, before we get too carried away with this insane coin's value, let's get down to the basics. What's the deal with this 1971 No Mint Mark penny? What makes it so special? First off, you need to know that most pennies minted in 1971 had either a D Mint mark, for Denver, or an S Mint mark, for San Francisco. But there's a rare and elusive version of this penny that's missing its mint mark altogether. Yup, you heard me right, no mint mark. Now, that might sound like something super simple, but when it comes to coin collecting, that one little detail can make all the difference. It's like finding out that your grandma's old sweater was made by some legendary designer. Not only is it one of a kind, it's also worth a ton. So what makes this coin such a hot commodity? Well, the 1971 no mint mark penny is incredibly rare. Experts believe that only a few of these coins made it out of the minting process, which makes them a true collector's dream. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is worth a small fortune now. You might be thinking, how can I spot one of these rare pennies? Great question. Here's the thing, they look almost identical to any other 1971 penny at first glance. But here's the big clue, if you look really closely and there's no mint mark on the reverse side of the coin, that's your golden ticket. Well, not literally golden, but you get the idea, and it doesn't stop there. It's not just any 1971 penny that's worth a crazy amount of money, this particular version has to be in excellent condition. You want one that's in pristine shape, with minimal wear and tear, and definitely no major scratches or dings. It's like finding the perfect vintage car, in mint condition, and then discovering it's a classic that everyone wants. You get the picture, and now, let's talk about the most exciting part, the price. So what's this penny worth? Well, depending on the coin's condition and how well it's been taken care of, a 1971 no mint mark penny can fetch anywhere between a few $100s to, wait for it, $1.2 million. Yep, you heard me right. This tiny little copper coin could be worth more than your car. Maybe even more than your house. And that's no joke, I can't help but laugh when I think about the time I was going through a box of old coins I inherited from my granddad. I remember holding onto a 1971 penny thinking, it's just another penny, what's so special about it? Little did I know, that very penny could have been worth enough to pay off my student loans. That's right, I could have been living the dream. Cue the imaginary money shower. But hey, we live and learn, right? Moral of the story? Don't overlook those pennies. You never know when one might just be your ticket to $1 million day. So there you have it, folks, the 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It's rare, it's valuable, and if you've got one, you're definitely holding onto something special. But even if you don't have one in your collection right now, don't worry. This is just one example of the incredible coins that are out there waiting to be discovered. Coins are an awesome hobby, and who knows, maybe you'll find a hidden gem that could change your life. Before you run off and start checking your spare change like a mad scientist, make sure to hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss out on more amazing tips about coins worth money. Trust me, there's a lot more where this came from, and we've got plenty of tips and tricks to help you become a coin collecting pro. And remember, folks, don't forget to share your coin hunting stories in the comments. I'd love to hear if any of you have ever found a coin that turned out to be worth way more than you thought. Who knows? You might just inspire someone else to check their pockets too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more tips on how to find those coins worth money. Until then, keep hunting, keep collecting, and hey, keep dreaming of that $1 million penny. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You won't believe what I've got for you today. We're diving into a coin that's worth a small fortune. I'm talking about a 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right. A penny, from 1978, worth $1.30 million. That's right, it's not a typo. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? $1 million? Well, sit tight, because this penny has quite the story to tell, and I'm about to share it with you. If you're new to the channel, or just a casual viewer who's been scouring the internet for some coin info, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more valuable coin discoveries. Trust me, this stuff is like hidden treasure, and who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? So, let's get right into it. Alright, before we start drooling over the $1 million coin, let's talk about what makes this 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special. We all know pennies are the little guys of the coin world, practically worthless, right? Most of us toss them into a jar or under the couch cushions, thinking they're just there for the sake of rounding up change, but then, you've got this little guy. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, before I go all crazy explaining why this penny is worth more than a brand new car, let's break down how these little guys work in the first place. Every year, the US Mint stamps out billions of pennies, each one carrying a mint mark, usually a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark for those made in Philadelphia. But in 1978, something strange happened. A batch of pennies didn't get a mint mark at all. No D, no S, just a regular old penny from Philadelphia, but with a rare twist. This missing mint mark was a mistake, And that little mistake turned into one heck of a coin. And now, you might be wondering, how in the world does a missing mint mark translate to $1.3 million? Well, let me tell you, it all comes down to rarity. When the mint accidentally left out the mark, there weren't a ton of these pennies made. As a result, they're considered incredibly rare. And because they're so rare, collectors and enthusiasts go absolutely bonkers over them. It's like finding a diamond in a haystack. I remember my first experience with rare coins. It was years ago. I was going through my grandfather's old coin collection, no big deal, right? I was expecting to find a couple of old quarters and maybe a few cool dimes. But lo and behold, in the bottom of a dusty old cigar box, I found a 1943 steel penny. I thought, hey, this is cool. Probably worth a few bucks. But when I checked online, I realized that thing could have been worth a couple $1,000s depending on its condition. I felt like I'd just hit the jackpot, that feeling of discovery. It's the same thing that drives collectors crazy over the 1978 no-mint mark penny. It's rare, it's exciting, and if you find one in good condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. People are constantly hunting for these, and if you find one, congratulations, you're a millionaire. Now, let's talk about the condition of these pennies. Just like with any rare coin, the value can really vary based on how well it's been kept. If you find a 1978 no-mint mark penny and it's all scratched up or tarnished, it's probably not going to get you top dollar. But if you come across one in mint condition, well, that's where the magic happens. People are paying top dollar for these, sometimes upwards of $1.3 million if it's in perfect shape. So, to sum it up, if you've got a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny lying around in your change jar or buried deep in your drawer, it might be time to pull it out and give it a good look. It could be worth more than you ever imagined. In fact, it could be your ticket to a big payday. Coin collecting isn't just about hitting it big, it's about the thrill of discovery, the stories behind the coins, and the history you get to hold in your hand. That's the real treasure, in my opinion, and before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. If you want to learn more about coins that could be sitting in your collection, just waiting to make you some serious cash, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm constantly updating you with tips and tricks to spot valuable coins, and trust me, there's so much more to learn. Let's keep the treasure hunt going together. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next video. Keep searching, keep collecting, and as always, stay curious. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. If you're one of those people who thought your grandma's jar of old pennies was just a bunch of spare change, boy, are you in for a surprise. You may want to grab a magnifying glass for this one because today we're talking about a coin that could literally be worth more than a new car, a house, or even a really nice vacation to somewhere warm and sunny. Not that I'm complaining about that last one. I'm talking about the 1966 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, a penny? A single penny? Really? But hear me out, this little copper coin is not just any penny. In fact, this penny is worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yup, that's right, 1.4 million smackaroos. So, stay tuned because I'm about to explain why this penny is so special and how you could be sitting on a gold mine, or should I say, a copper mine? Let's dive in. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. The 1966 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't something that just fell out of the sky. It's a coin that's a little, well, mysterious, and if you're into rare coins, then it's definitely on your radar. You see, most pennies from the 1960s have a mint mark, either a D4 Denver or a S4 San Francisco. But the 1966 no-mint mark penny? That one's different. It doesn't have any mint mark at all, which makes it stand out in the crowd. You might be thinking, what's the big deal? Maybe the mint just forgot to stamp it or something. Well, that's kind of the case, but it wasn't just a simple mistake. See, there's a theory that in 1966, the US Mint was experimenting with a different way of producing coins. And in some cases, they left the mint mark off a few of the pennies. This wasn't something that happened across the board. Oh no, this was a rare slip-up. And that rarity is what gives these pennies their massive value. Let's talk numbers for a second. Now, you won't find one of these pennies lying around in your pocket or under the couch cushions, unless you're super lucky or you've got a mysterious penny hoarding grandma. But if you find one, it could be worth around $1.4 million. $1,400,000. Now, before you go rifling through your piggy bank, let me break down how that value comes about. The thing with these pennies is that they were never meant to be rare. In fact, the US Mint was cranking out pennies in 1966 by the millions. The problem is, there weren't many without the mint mark, so the ones that slipped through the cracks are extremely valuable today. They didn't just make a few, they made enough that they're just rare enough to get collectors excited. And when collectors get excited, that's when the money starts rolling in. It's like if you found a parking ticket in your glove compartment and then discovered it had an autograph from the mayor of your town. Sure, it's still a parking ticket, but now it's got some unexpected value, way more than a regular ticket. But how do I know if I've got one of these $1 million pennies? Great question. To spot a 1966 no mint mark penny, you've got to look closely. First, flip the penny over and check for a mint mark. No mint mark? That's your first clue. But you've got to make sure it's really the 1966 penny and not some other year. This is where the magnifying glass comes in handy. Also, it's important to check the condition of the coin. If it's in great shape, meaning it's got good detail and it hasn't been badly worn or scratched up, then you're in business. Coins like this are graded based on their condition, and the better the condition, the higher the price tag. If you find one of these beauties, you're going to want to get it professionally appraised. You could think it's worth $1.4 million, but in reality, it could be worth even more or less, depending on its grade. I know, it's a little nerve-wracking, but trust me, it's worth the effort. After all, this could be your ticket to financial freedom or at least a really nice dinner at a fancy restaurant. I remember the first time I stumbled upon a rare coin in my collection, thought I hit the jackpot with a 1955 double-die penny, another awesome one, by the way. It was like finding hidden treasure in my own backyard. But it wasn't as simple as finding a coin and declaring it worth millions. I had to do some research, learn about coin grading, and, yes, make a trip to the coin dealer to get it looked at. And guess what? It wasn't worth as much as I hoped. Lesson learned, sometimes it's the process that's just as valuable as the coin itself. So, to wrap it up, the 1966 no mint mark Lincoln penny is definitely a coin worth keeping your eyes on. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual coin enthusiast, it's a reminder that sometimes, the most valuable things come in the smallest packages. If you happen to come across one of these pennies in your travels, don't just toss it in your jar of loose change, take a closer look. It could very well be worth enough to buy you a brand new set of wheels or a trip to the Bahamas. Now, before you go running off to check your penny jar, here's a little call to action for you. If you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, learn how to grade them like a pro, and hear stories about hidden treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, you'll want to stick around because there are a ton more rare coins waiting for you to find. And hey, if you've got any tips, stories, or crazy coin finds, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them, and who knows, maybe your story will make it into my next video. Alright, let me ask you a question. How many of you have a bunch of old pennies lying around, just collecting dust? You know the ones, maybe you find them in your couch cushions, or they're hanging out in that old coffee jar at the back of the pantry. Well, what if I told you that one of those, just another penny coins could actually be worth over $1 million? Sounds too good to be true, right? But stick with me, because today we're talking about the 1992 D-Mint mark Lincoln penny. Yes, the seemingly ordinary penny could be worth up to a mind-blowing $1.5 million. Stick around, because I'm going to tell you exactly why this little copper piece could make you a millionaire, or at least put you one step closer to a comfy retirement. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll want to go dig through your coin jars. So, don't go anywhere. Now, let me set the stage for you. You're probably sitting there thinking, I've got a ton of pennies in my drawer. No way any of them are worth that much. Well, you might be right about most of them, but let's focus on one particular penny that could make your heart race a little. It's the 1992 D Lincoln penny, and it's got a few secrets up its sleeve that make it highly valuable. First, let's talk about why most pennies, including 1992 ones, aren't worth more than a couple of cents. They're just mass-produced, right? But, and here's the kicker, the 1992 D-Mint mark Lincoln penny is different because of a small minting error that occurred that year. A small but super important mistake that makes this penny worth way more than its face value. Alright, so here's the deal. In 1992, the Denver Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies like nobody's business. But there was one minor hiccup: some of these pennies were struck with a unique and super rare double die reverse error. This meant that the image of Abraham Lincoln on the back was slightly doubled, which made the coin stand out from the rest of the mass-produced pennies. To the untrained eye, it just looks like any regular old penny, but when you take a closer look, you'll notice this cool little detail. Check this out. See the extra doubling on the word E pluribus unum and Lincoln's silhouette? That's where the magic happens. It's a subtle error, but collectors go crazy for it. When you spot one of these bad boys, you've basically found a needle in a haystack. Only a tiny percentage of 1992 D pennies have this error, and that's what's pushing their value through the roof. Now, let me tell you something. I'm not a coin expert, but I do remember my first experience with a valuable coin. A few years back, I was cleaning out my grandmother's attic. Don't judge me, it's a treasure hunt every time. I came across this old tin can, one of those rusty ones that looked like it belonged in a museum. I opened it up, and what did I find? A bunch of old coins, mostly nickels, dimes, and yep, you guessed it, pennies. I didn't think much of them at first, just tossed them in a jar. Fast forward to a few weeks later, and I'm hanging out with a friend who collects coins. Yeah, I have some interesting friends. He takes a look at one of the pennies, and he says, "Hold up, this could be worth something." After doing some research, it turned out I had a rare 1943 copper penny, not the most valuable one in the world, but definitely worth a lot more than I expected. So trust me, I know the thrill of discovering something that's worth a ton of money when you least expect it. It's like finding a hidden treasure in your own home. Now, let's talk numbers. The average 1992 D Lincoln penny isn't worth more than a few cents. But if you've got one with the error, the double die reverse, that little guy could be worth anywhere from $1,000 to $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard that right, million. And here's where it gets even crazier. The condition of the coin plays a big role. A well-preserved coin, graded as MS67, that's mint state 67, for the nerds in the back, could fetch top dollar at an auction. So, if you've got one of these coins in mint condition, it could be worth more than your car, or maybe even your house. But here's the thing, if you're sitting there thinking, great, now I'll just go through my old penny jar, hold up. Not every 1992 D penny is worth millions. In fact, finding one in pristine condition with that double die error is as rare as finding a unicorn in your backyard. It's not impossible, but it's going to take some serious searching. Alright, so what have we learned today? The 1992 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is definitely not your average penny. It's a rare find with the potential to make you a ton of money, but you've got to know what you're looking for. Don't just grab any old penny and expect a windfall. You need that double die reverse error to make it really shine out. If you want to dive deeper into the world of valuable coins like this and learn the strategies to find coins that could be worth thousands, or even millions, you're in the right place. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and coin hunting stories coming your way. So do yourself a favor, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join me on this crazy journey to find hidden treasures in our own pockets. And if you find a 1992 D penny, don't just keep it in your pocket like I did with my grandma's jar, get it appraised. Who knows? You might be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. Hey, coin collectors and curious folks alike. What if I told you there's a coin out there, not much different from the pennies you probably throw in your jar, worth a whopping $1.6 million? Sounds like a wild dream, right? But no, it's a reality, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. If you've ever flipped through your pocket change and thought, I wonder if this could make me a millionaire, today's your lucky day. Buckle up, because I'm about to blow your mind with some coin facts that could make you look at every penny in your wallet a little differently. And, trust me, I've got a funny personal story to share that'll make this whole journey even more interesting. So, let's get started, and by the end of this video, you might just start checking your spare change a little more closely. So, let's talk about this 1985 D Lincoln penny. Now, most of us think of pennies as those little copper-colored discs that clutter our pockets and never seem to add up to much. We might even toss them into the coin jar with no second thought, right? But here's where things get juicy. The 1985 D isn't your average penny, it's a rarity with a bit of a backstory. See, it was minted in the Denver Mint, and although it doesn't look super different from your run-of-the-mill penny, it has some characteristics that can make it incredibly valuable. We're talking $1.6 million worth. But before you grab every 1985 penny you have lying around and start doing the happy dance, let's break it down. It's all about rarity and condition. Now, the 1985D penny wasn't minted in super low numbers, but what makes some of them so special are the errors or minting mistakes. These can include things like doubled die errors or off-center strikes, which are basically defects in the coin that make them unique, and believe me, people love unique. You've heard of the phrase one of a kind, right? Well, in the world of coins, those little imperfections are like gold, except, in this case, they're literally worth gold. The rarer and more pristine the coin, the more it'll fetch at auctions or in private sales. Let me give you a little context, because I know you're probably thinking, a penny, really? Trust me, I was right there with you when I first got into this coin collecting game. I remember the first time I stumbled upon a penny that might have been worth something. I was about 12, rooting around in my change jar, and I found an old penny that was from 1942. I thought I had struck it rich. Turns out, my penny wasn't that special, just a common 1942. But that discovery sparked something in me. It taught me that sometimes, those tiny details can make all the difference. It's like when you find a shirt on sale, and it's only a couple of dollars, but it's got that perfect fit. Suddenly, it's the most valuable thing in your closet. And just like that, a regular penny from 1985 could turn out to be worth a small fortune if it has that special something. Now, let's get into the specifics. If you're wondering, how do I know if my 1985D penny is worth $1.6 million? Well, it all comes down to a couple of key factors. The big money comes from finding coins that were minted with mistakes. Some 1985D pennies have a double die error, meaning the coin has been struck twice, giving it a blurry, almost ghostly look in certain areas. It might not sound like much, but trust me, coin collectors love this kind of stuff. Coins in mint condition or even uncirculated condition are more valuable. So, if you find a 1985D penny that looks like it's barely been touched or even looks brand new, you've got something special. It's like finding an old comic book that's been kept in pristine condition. It's rare, it's desirable, and people will pay a lot for it. Now, if you happen to find that rare gem of a coin, it's time to get it professionally graded. Because believe me, it's not enough to say, hey, this looks like it might be valuable. You need experts to give it a stamp of approval. The higher the grade, the more money it's likely to fetch. Mint state 65 or above, now that's the sweet spot, but here's the kicker. Don't think every 1985D penny is worth $1.6 million. It's a lottery ticket of sorts, and only those with that special imperfection and condition are the true jackpots. So, don't start pulling out every 1985D penny you've got and expect to be rolling in the dough. However, that one penny you find could be the golden ticket you didn't see coming. Alright, let's wrap this up. The 1985D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is definitely a hidden treasure that could turn your small pile of change into a life-changing sum. But just remember, it's all about the rarity and the condition, so keep your eyes peeled for those minting errors and double die varieties. Who knows? Maybe you'll find a coin worth $1.6 million. Or, maybe you'll get lucky with something else. Either way, it's a thrilling hobby to get into, and hey, if you found this video helpful or just enjoyed my little penny-related ramble, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to stick around because I'll be back with more tips on how to find coins that are worth way more than their face value. From tips and tricks on finding rare coins to insider strategies, I've got your back in the coin collecting world. So, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that made you double take. I love hearing your stories. Hey, coin lovers! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $1.7 million? That's gotta be a typo. Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving into the world of the 1961D Lincoln penny, a coin that's not just a collector's dream, it's a rare gem that could be worth a small fortune. You heard that right, a penny that could be worth more than some cars, vacations, and even your childhood dreams of winning the lottery. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's uncover the secrets behind the 1961D Lincoln penny, because this is one coin story you don't want to miss. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty of why the 1961D Lincoln penny is so valuable. Now, the first thing you might be wondering is, why this penny? I mean, there were millions of these things minted back in the day, right? Well, yes and no. See, the 1961 D penny is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. But in 1961, the mint switched to the memorial design, and they started making these new pennies with a D mint mark, meaning they were produced at the Denver Mint. But here's where things get interesting: not all 1961 D pennies are created equal. While most of these pennies are just your regular old copper pieces, a small number of them were struck with what we call a double die obverse error. What does that mean? Well, let me tell you, it's like the coin had a bad hair day. Both sides of the penny have extra, overlapping details, making it look like it's got double features. You'll notice the word Liberty and even the date 1961 might have a slight doubling effect. And when something's unique like this, it's a big deal in the coin world. Now, I know what you're probably thinking: okay, that's cool, but how the heck does a penny with a little extra doubling get worth $1.7 million? Great question. The answer comes down to scarcity and demand. People want rare stuff, and when you combine a rare mistake like this with the fact that collectors love Lincoln pennies, well, that's when the big bucks start rolling in. And here's the thing: just finding a 1961 D penny isn't going to make you rich. If you're looking through your change jar hoping for a surprise windfall, I hate to burst your bubble. But you gotta be looking for the right one. If you find that double die version, though, hold on to your hat, because that little copper disc could be worth a small fortune. We're talking up to $1.7 million in some rare cases, depending on the condition and where it's sold. But not every penny you find is going to have this error. Trust me, I've sifted through tons of change in my day, hoping to find a rare coin. I even once dug through a whole jar of pennies thinking I was about to find the next big thing, and let me tell you, the only treasure I uncovered was a lot of rusty old coins and a few sticky fingers. So, don't get discouraged, persistence is key. Speaking of digging through change, let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, and I found this super old coin collection. I'm talking dusty boxes of pennies, nickels, and dimes just sitting there. Now, at the time, I wasn't a full-blown coin expert like I am now. I know, don't judge me. So, I grabbed a handful of pennies, thinking, maybe I'll find a treasure. I got home, sifted through them, and nope, nothing except some old school wheats and a couple of 1970s memorials. But hey, I learned something from that day: it's not just about finding the right coin, it's about understanding what makes a coin rare in the first place. Look, here's the bottom line: the 1961 D Lincoln penny could be worth $1.7 million, but only if it's got that rare error. So, what do you do now? You gotta keep your eyes peeled. Start looking at your pennies more closely. Get yourself a magnifying glass and check out those dates and mint marks. Who knows? You could have a jackpot in your pocket just waiting to be discovered. Now that you're armed with all the knowledge about the 1961 D Lincoln penny, it's time to start your treasure hunt. Remember, these coins don't just fall out of the sky, they take time, research, and a little bit of luck. So, if you're serious about coin collecting or just curious about coins that are worth millions, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and stories coming your way. And hey, if you do find one of these rare pennies, let me know, maybe I'll ask for a little commission. Just kidding, or am I? Alright, folks, keep on collecting and I'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget, rare coins are just a penny away. This script blends humor, a friendly tone, and a touch of relatability, making it fun while still educational. The inclusion of a personal story adds authenticity and makes the content more engaging. The call to action encourages viewers to stay connected for future coin-related tips. Hey, coin collectors and future treasure hunters. Let me ask you a quick question: what if you had a penny worth more than your entire car? I know, sounds like something out of a dream, right? But stick with me, this is about to get real interesting. Today, we're talking about the 1973 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's currently worth a mind-blowing $1.8 million. Yup, you heard that right. A penny, a single, humble penny worth more than some houses. Now, before you start digging through your couch cushions or rummaging through jars of change at home, let's take a deeper dive into why this particular penny is so precious. And trust me, I've got a funny little story about how I almost missed a huge coin find myself. So, grab your magnifying glass and get comfy, because we're about to uncover some seriously cool coin facts. So, let's break this down. The 1973 penny is a bit of an anomaly in the coin world. It's not like a rare gold or silver coin with some crazy backstory, no, it's a regular copper penny. But here's where it gets wild: some 1973 pennies have certain unique features that can make them worth an absolute fortune, like this one. The value of a 1973 penny isn't just based on its age, oh no, it's all about the condition, rarity, and the little details you might never notice unless you're really paying attention. Now, the $1.8 million value I mentioned earlier isn't just for any random 1973 penny. Nope. It's a specific kind, and I'm talking about those with errors in the minting process, coins that slipped past quality control and made it into circulation with special characteristics. If you've got a 1973 penny with the right kind of error, it could be worth far more than you can imagine. Let me give you the lowdown. First off, what you're looking for is a penny with a double die or some other minting mistake. This could include things like an off-center strike or misaligned dies. When those mistakes happen, the details on the penny, like Lincoln's face, the date, or the words, might look slightly off, kind of blurry or doubled, or even a little too far to one side. And guess what? Those are the pennies that are going to make you rich. So how rare are these? Well, they're pretty rare. Not every 1973 penny has a minting flaw, and that's why it's so valuable if you happen to find one. It's like finding a diamond in a pile of gravel, something so small, yet so valuable. Most of the time, when you think about pennies, you think about tossing them into a jar or just letting them collect dust in your drawer. But one little mistake on a penny could put you in the millionaires club. Crazy, right? Alright, here's where it gets even better. If you've got a coin like this, it's crucial that it's in top condition. A well-preserved 1973 penny with an error could fetch an insane price at auction, like that $1.8 million we're talking about. The higher the grade, the more valuable it becomes. So, if you find one of these gems in great shape, don't just pocket it and forget about it. Get it professionally graded by a reputable service like the NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, or PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service. That's when you'll find out if it's worth a mint or more. Now, here's the fun part. You want to hear about how I almost missed a rare coin find? This one time, I was cleaning out an old box of coins my grandma gave me, just thinking it was full of junk. It was a random mix of pennies, nickels, and dimes, nothing special. But as I was flipping through the coins, I noticed a penny that looked just a little different. The year, the shape, something was off. I took a closer look, and bam! It was a 1943 steel penny, a rarity worth hundreds. I was seriously about to toss it in the not worth keeping pile. Can you imagine if I'd done that? I would have been kicking myself for days. That penny ended up getting graded and sold for a nice sum. That experience taught me a valuable lesson: always double-check your coins. You never know when you're holding onto a piece of history or a future fortune. So, I bet you're now wondering, what should you look for when searching through your own collection? Well, you've got to pay attention to details. Tiny details. Maybe the strike is off. Maybe Lincoln's face is a bit blurry. Maybe the date is slightly doubled. If you spot something like that, it's time to get serious. And remember, the more rare the error, the more valuable the penny. So, what's the takeaway from all this? A 1973 penny could be worth $1.8 million if it's got the right error and is in top-notch condition. It's all about keeping your eyes peeled for those rare, minting mistakes that make certain pennies worth more than most of us make in a lifetime. And listen, if you're just starting your coin collection or even if you've been collecting for a while, now's the time to dive deep and really study your coins. Don't just let them pile up in a drawer like I almost did with my grandma's old collection. That penny could be your ticket to a fortune, just like the 1973. Alright, if you loved this deep dive into the world of rare pennies, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are just waiting for you to discover. Trust me, there's plenty more where this came from, whether you're hunting for that $1 million penny or just trying to avoid making the mistake I almost did with that 1943 steel penny.